Good afternoon, Professor, and good afternoon, all participants. So, welcome you all back for the another interesting session for this FDP. It is blockchain technology, applications of blockchain technology in healthcare industry by Professor Dr. Naveen Kumar. I request Mr. Kalimuthu to give a welcome address for our guest speaker.
Good afternoon, everyone. Now we gave a section on blockchain in healthcare applications by Dr. Naveen Kumar. Dr. Naveen Kumar is currently working as an associate professor in Indian Institute of Informational Technology, Vadodara, India, since 2015. Also, he acts as a visiting researcher at Matsura Lab, Institute of Industrial Science, University of Tokyo, Japan. He obtained his PhD degree in Computer Science and Engineering from Dhirubhai Ambani Institute of Information and Communication Technology, Gandhinagar, at 2018. He received his MTech degree in Information Technology from Guru Gobind Singh Indraprasth University, Delhi. His research area includes information security and privacy, access control, key management, cloud security, security of intelligent transport system, etc. Now I request Dr. Ravin Kumar sir to take the session. Please, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you for calling me for this nice FTP. So let me share my screen first. Okay. So can you see my slide?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. So hopefully you will be now equipped with the basics of blockchain technology. So what are the advantages? What are the things behind blockchain? How it will handle things in distributed fashion, right? Centralized, distributed. Basic theory behind it may be linear, right? It doesn't mean it is only working distributed fashion. So I hope that basics are already covered. Many applications I have seen in the list that many of the applications of blockchains are already covered. So now we are moving to another application, right? That is healthcare. So looking at your previous talks, right? I understood that talking about blockchain doesn't mean, right? So you are more actually now familiar with the construction and all till this point. So you are more actually, this talk will be more towards healthcare and what are the issues in the healthcare system where you can fix it up using blockchain technology. So we will come to this blockchain part later on. First of all, we will start with this healthcare system. What kind of people are thinking of, why this is important, what are the issues, right? And how these issues can be tackled in this using blockchain technology, right? So I will discuss one of the one or two case studies where this blockchain is actually used and how it is used. We will discuss it later towards the end. So let me start our discussion with healthcare. So I have written healthcare is fine, right? So why this is fine of any country or any for our economic sector, right? So this is because this is the largest sector that you can think of in terms of revenue and employment, right? In most of the countries. I don't know whether you agreed or not, but this is truth. And I will give you some statistics related to it. So especially, can somebody tell me how much daily expenditure you can think of in healthcare worldwide? I am talking about globally. Can anybody tell me what is the daily expenditure you may expect we are doing in this healthcare sector? Anybody? Just the idea, not necessarily the exact one. So just the idea. Anybody? So thing is, there is economics actually there in this sector. This sector is the largest sector actually globally, right? I'm not talking about India, right? Although in India also actually this is the biggest one, but we are not sometimes talking about in that way. But worldwide, this is the most employment or revenue generating sector, right? So here, I don't know, I will give you some online statistics, right? Real time statistics. So let me open my browser. So that will help you to understand actually what I'm talking about. Yeah. So this is Worldmeter. Everybody, maybe you knows this website because during COVID, many times actually you referred the number of cases, the current issues using this, right? So I've just opened this Worldmeter referring to our healthcare statistics, right? If you scroll down, here you will find out the economical government and economics heading, right? So in this heading, you will find out the public healthcare expenditure today. It is real data, right? So can you figure out the amount? This amount is nearly 9.5, right? Billion dollars. This is the expenditure which is going on, right? We are talking about today. So till now, till this point, this much of expenditure is already done. And it is not in air, right? They are statistics. So how it will get this data? You can ask this question. But before it, I think you should compare it with the education expenditure or military defense expenditure. It is significantly more. Other areas will much below actually than the healthcare sector, right? And you may ask that why, how actually you have come up with this data, right? So these are the sources, right? They have collected these sources from WHO, IMF, World Bank. So those will provide actually this data. This data is not just collected upfront directly by them, right? So you can trust this data in that sense, correct? So if this is the highest growing sector, or you can say highly revenue taking or employment sector, then I think it is there is some interesting things you should know, or you are eager to know, right, in this area, right? So this will be greater than 9.5 trillion, right, per day. You can see it today's data, right? So the global healthcare expenditure, if you look at, it represents around 9% of the world GDP. Do you know what is Indian GDP in current year? It is around 3 trillion, right? So three times is the expenditure per day in the healthcare sector worldwide. You can look at the amount, right? Now, if so big area is this, then there are many other things that you are interested in maybe knowing about the healthcare sector. If you look at this pandemic that we have just, or we are still actually with the pandemic, right? So 27 crore around cases actually are there, which are COVID related, right? Around 53 lakh deaths are there because of this COVID thing, right? But this is not the only one. It just comes actually one and a half years before, or 2 years before at most, right? There are many other diseases are there, right? So you cannot think of actually how much it impacts globally, right? So if you see that some statistics related to this healthcare, right? For example, if you focus over these communicable diseases, right? So this is what actually this COVID was, right? This is one of the example. So in 2020, this has shown this communicable. This was an example, right? So you can see actually how it can expand, with what frequency it is communicating or it is spreading, right? So it is responsible for more than 10.2 million deaths in 2019, right? Which is around 18% of the total deaths worldwide. So you can think of the impact of communicable diseases, right? And this is one thing, right? It is not only about communicable disease. There are many other diseases. But why I am focusing on this type of disease is because that we cannot control. Any next day you can come up with some new disease, right? New communicable diseases and all. So there are many, everybody knows there are issues, right, in the history, which communicable disease I am talking about. So those are very, very severe, right? But although old diseases we have already having a control kind of thing, but still actually these communicable diseases actually is under the top 10 causes of deaths, right? So it is very, so COVID we have seen. So I hope now you need to ask this question to yourself. Can you think of a world without healthcare services? If this is the largest sector, if this is the main cause of death, right? If it is so much significant economically also, right? So if there is no such healthcare services exist all around, I hope it is difficult to think of even, right? I hope you will agree with me. Now, if this is very, very important sector, or healthcare services are very, very important, and you are giving it first priority, then you need to ask this question: what actually is the base of this healthcare? What actually you can think of is the base of this healthcare services? What is important here? Most important thing that you need to take care of in this healthcare services, right? So the base or the core of this healthcare service is data. You need to actually, so I am not talking superficially, right? I am talking with data. So I am talking about healthcare data. So one may ask actually why healthcare data? There are a lot of other areas are there whose data is also and significantly large. But this healthcare data, if you look at the growing data rate in this healthcare sector, this is actually significantly more than as compared to the other sectors, right? This is healthcare, right? So growth rate is 36%. So it is just futuristic, considering the old from 2018 to 25, right? So if you take this range, whatever, so considering the current rate, if it goes in that way, it will be actually yearly, it is increasing 30%, 36% data, 36% rate per year, right? In manufacturing, it is significantly less, right? 6% less. So here also it is less, right? So this is the most significant area which is producing data, right, for you guys. So this data is very, very large and obviously very, very significant for you guys. We will come to that point. So as we increasingly digitizing the data, you can do analysis, you can do many other things. So everybody is now actually moving towards digitization, right? This data is also in digital form, right? So as most other industries, the volume is growing with a significant rate, right? And you can think of this the highest rate it has, right? So, and overall volume wise, if you look at, it contains actually the highest volume of data as compared to any other sector globally, right? I hope now you can switch on your mind, right? So this is an enlightened thing, right? So you are working, you are talking about an area which is the highest job giving sector, highest economical related, highest affect to any country's economy, right? The highest level, and the growing rate is also high, and the data volumes are also the highest one as compared to the other related areas, right? So you're talking about that data. Now, if this is so important, then obviously you need some kind of management, right? How you will do that management of the data, healthcare data management. So what it is, actually it is a practice of making use of this data by healthcare organizations, practitioners, patients itself, and many other guys. For example, you need to purchase medicines, right? So that sector, insurance, those guys will also come. Researchers, those will also come. Those are also seeking the data, right, at some point of time. So this is practice of actually making use of this data available to these guys, ultimately for the benefit of patients, for their well-beings, right? So this is what the overall, this is what actually the data management is. This is what actually we want, why we want to manage this data, right? So a lot of guys are there who are seeking information out of it, and the patient itself, right, it's majorly good. So what is the overall need? So need is to enable, it enables to integrate and analyze medical data and to make actually this patient care more efficient. That is the core of it, right? And extract insights that can actually improve overall medical outcomes. History of your healthcare data, right? So it will help in improving the medical outcomes, right? And it also actually helps socially, right? In social circle also, actually you can do some researches and all, right? That final conclusions can help your the government, right, to take some necessary actions. So ultimately, nowadays actually we are defining this in slightly different way. We are extending this definition by saying while protecting the security and privacy of the data. This is very, very important. I don't know whether you agree or not, but why this is important? Because sometimes you don't want to actually you can say leak this information about your personal health, right? For example, you have HIV, right? You have some alcoholic issues, you have some other organized issues, right? There are a lot of such things are there. So you just want to hide actually this information. Even sometimes you will hide this information from the doctor, medical practitioners, right? So why? Because privacy, your privacy will be on the risk in that case. So privacy is the fundamental right? And it should be protected. Whatever system you are using, if privacy is involved with the data, it must be in the top priority, right? It must be taken care by that system. So healthcare data management system should actually protect the security and privacy of the data, right? So this is the core, right? So this is the main objective. It is not only about management, right? It is also about securing your privacy, right? This is very important. So these are few definitions that we discuss. Privacy is the right to keep things to yourself, which is sometimes not true because you cannot actually hide it everything. At some point of time, you will leak it. Confidentiality is about unauthorized access, right? You always want that only authorized users can access it, right? Then there is something which is related to privacy, individually identifiable health information. So when you say health data, so in every health record or health data, right, there will be some private information automatically come, right? For example, your name, your date of birth, your phone number, maybe your address, right? So these things are uniquely identifiable information, right? That will be there in many records, data records, right? So that will actually give your identity, leak your identity to the other parties, right? Other thing is something called consent, right? It is also very, very important while creating any such management system, right? So without consent, data must not be given to anybody. Access to the data must not be given to anybody. So this is in context of privacy I am talking about, right? Otherwise, the definition will be different. So this is in written or verbal permission to allow use of your personal information, personally identifiable health information, right? So consent is important here. Since you want privacy and security, those are the major requirements, right? So what are the concerns about privacy in general? So we will discuss about how this personal privacy is different from common good, and who is having an edge over the other, right? Then continued disclosure of your information, right? That is also actually related to privacy. Concerns of public. So we will discuss all these 3 points, starting with the first one: personal privacy versus common good, right? So there are many views, right? One view is this: although your privacy is important, right, there are some instances when the common good of the society overweighs it, right? Sometimes common good, right, for the society, that will actually overcome to this privacy, importance of that privacy. But on the other side, some guys says that personal privacy is the major issue. Again, there are some guys who will take care of both of the sides, right, and make a balance between the two. I don't know where you fits, right? What you think, whether social responsibility is more important, research for giving this data to the researchers, surveyors, right? That is more important, right? So common good is more important, or your privacy, personal privacy is more important. You need to sacrifice at some point of time. If you are giving this information to any party, right, in whatever number of hands you are giving this information, it actually leaks at some point in time. Give some information out of your territory, right? It will goes in other's hand. So you will always keep on actually isolating your information in some way. I hope you will agree with me, right? So where you need to be, you need to create an equilibrium between the two sides, right? So everybody can have their own definition, own way of thinking about the two things, right? But both are sometimes important, right? Personal privacy is also important because these are fundamental rights, right? But the common good is again very important, right? If surveys and such will not work, you cannot predict the future, right? So you cannot actually come up with the ideas, right, for the society. So now this is not like both things are important, right? Agreed. But there are few cases where actually this patient information is disclosed. It is keep on continuing, right? In many ways, there are many examples in the literature where, for example, Google Health, I don't know whether you know it or not. So Google in 2003 sometime, right, nearly it has leaked their data record. So they are also come up then later on a cloud application named Google Health. I don't know whether you heard of or not. This is cloud-based Google personal healthcare data management system, right? Google Health, but they come up after 2003. So initially they come up with their initial version, which was actually disclosed. And obviously, if Google is providing this service, right, it can access the patient data. Every patient data should be with this third party, right? This Google guy. So should you able to give access of your data to the Google? It is shaky, right? So these are the issues, right? And few other examples. For example, here, right, in US, in Portland, thieves has broken a car and pick up a disc and tapes containing records of any patients, right? This was an incident which has happened, right? And there are several episodes in Virginia, US, right, where they have come up with second-hand laptops, and these laptops, people have actually recovered the data, and it contains actually some data related to healthcare. right? So this doesn't mean actually there is no privacy rules are there, right? For example, in US they come up with this HIPAA privacy rule in 2010 around 9, I think 9 around, right? And then later on they come up with another act over this HIPAA, right? That says that if somehow there is a breach of more than 500 individuals, right? Because there are many such incidents happen at the start. So they come up with this act which says if more than 500 individual data records are breached at some point of time, it should be notified to the government or to the public, right? So it means they come up with this need, right? Because a lot of such leaks are happening, right? So here, see how many data records are leaked, right? Here also, how many data records are leaked. So even if 500 individual data records are leaked, you need to notify it. So this need comes automatically when such incident happens, right? Now, healthcare organizations in general actually not well prepared for security. This is very, very major issue with the healthcare system. This is another reason why actually there is a need of security and privacy at different level, right? So obviously data leakage is the primary threat. For example, privacy related data, identity, or access management should be the top priority. Who will going to access the data, right? And your identity must not be leaked. So privacy as well as security, right? So both must be protected in some way. So this should be the highest priority, right? So trend towards this outsourcing your data, right? Nowadays we are looking for outsourcing applications, right? Healthcare application where data should be outsourced. Looking at the volume of data, you cannot actually handle it by your own, right? So you know that volume is very high, right? You should require some data outsource. You need some cloud service where you can store your data. So if you are doing it, actually you are relying over some third party. So the third party security concerns are still there. You cannot fully trust over any third party, isn't it? It will be either semi-trusted or something, right, related to it. So it can make money out of it, right, by leaking this information. So be careful if you are using any third party. So this is the reason why actually that blockchain comes into the picture later on. We will link it with that, right? Then role of Chief Information Security Officer will be a requirement now, right? If you are working with such healthcare system, in healthcare, you need some security officers, right? That will take care of these things so that leakage should be avoided, right? Or proper access control should be maintained. The security environment becomes more complex nowadays, right? As you go everything online, right? So you're moving every data online. You are using cloud services, third parties are involved, right? So regulation continues to grow. Government regulations, right? In general, society's regulations, right? So this will all automatically grow. So in the same ratio, the security budget is not keeping it the pace. The security budgets of organizations, they are not actually taking care with the same pace. This is the issue. So this is the guy who come up with this idea, and in the same way, in the same year, there is another guy who is again repeat the thing. He said the healthcare organization not keeping actually pace with the security threats and readiness for them. So these are the issues which comes into the picture, right? So people realizes that actually they are not taking care of my data. Healthcare organizations are not taking care of my data, right? So security breaches may be there, privacy leakages are there. There are a lot of things are there. Maybe one can think of, we can use some better newest technology and maybe we can hide this data, protect this data, right? But this is also not true. There are few papers, for example, this is the one in 2007, they come up with this attack on this technology, right? USB drives, right? USB drive run programs, right? Whenever they plug into a machine through USB port, isn't it? So what you can do is, so it means you are running some program, So if you're running that program automatically, immediately after inserting the pen drive, right? So it means you can also able to access data of that drive, the data of that machine using the automatic program. This is another thing, right? Another example was given by this guy who said in Microsoft Access, even though if you are encrypted your data, that may be compromised. They come up with the idea. So nowadays we are using Excel, right? We are not using Microsoft Access normally for normal storage, right? So these are the things. 10% of the hard drives sold second-hand retailer, right, in Canada has residues of personal health information. This is another incidence. Because in healthcare, data is huge volume, right? Ultimately, at some point of time, maybe those hard disks you may send either there, right? So it means, so those are also the issues, right? So you need some cloud service in some sense, maybe, right? So technology is also actually not by nature protecting your data, right? You need to be very careful how you are using those technologies, right? For protecting or for storing, managing your data, correct? Now, question comes, if lot of such issues are there, what these governments are doing? Are they doing something? Yes. Two, I will discuss here, then later on also I will discuss more such, you can say, government rules or government acts, right, to protect healthcare data. So in United States, for example, this HIPAA is there, right? HIPAA privacy rule is there. That is comes actually in second time in 2010. Finally, it is implemented in 2010, although it is there. It started from 2006 onwards, I think, right? So it defines actually the policies, including how actually treatment can be done, basically to save the data, right? To handle the data privately. So this is in the background, right? So how treatment should be handled online, how payment can be done, right? How operations, individual internal operations, right, will be taken care of this privacy thing, right? So security rule specifies the specified required protections, right? Ultimately, you need to protect your data, right? So this rule is basically to protect your privacy of your data, privacy of data, right? During various operations needed in your healthcare management system, treatment, payments, of other related operations, right? Similarly, in Europe also, actually, there is a strict rule that allows data processing only with the consent. This is more important actually here. So they said, actually, you need consent of that patient whenever you want to give access to any guy. But there are exceptions. For example, what about in emergency situations? So they included that also, right? They said highly specific circumstances you can give the access without consent, right? If there is some legal obligations, right, or some public necessities there, or means you want to use it for research or survey purpose, right? So in such cases, you can leak the data without consent. But in general, whomsoever is going to access it internally or externally, right? For example, insurance companies are external, right? So everybody, whomsoever you are giving this data should be actually with the consent. So patient consent is important. This is what still actually this consent, this mechanism is used, right? This rule is protected, right? Now what kind of technology, how these technologies will help in general? Without technology, you cannot work, although we know that there are issues, but ultimately you need to use it. So how you can use it in general, right? So we will start with some basics. For example, confidentiality, we know we can use encryption mechanisms to address this confidentiality part, data confidentiality part, right? Then about data integrity. Data integrity, you can actually ensure using HMAC, right? Signatures and all. But what about privacy? So these are traditional mechanisms that you can use, right? But main issue is privacy. So privacy in general gives a right to keep these things to yourself, right? So how you can do it? One mechanism is this. One solution can be you can de-identify the identifiable information. So de-identified data storage means what? Your personal information will be kept at a separate place than the prescriptions or lab reports or other data, healthcare data. In healthcare, you may have prescriptions, right? You may have lab reports, right? Some progressive reports, for example, right? So it must not contain your personal information. Personal information like name, address, right? This kind of information or data should be kept aside. It is separate. So, but you need a link between the two at some point of time. So whenever there is a need, there will be a mechanism through which you can actually link between the two. So, but while storing the data, this must be stored aside, not with the prescriptions or lab reports. This was a mechanism that is called de-identified data storage. So you are de-identifying the personal user identifying information should be kept aside, right? This is the idea. Now, it doesn't mean actually you are now protected if you do it. If you want to de-identify your data, right? It doesn't mean you are in safe hands. So it is not necessary that your system is now secure. So there are few actually objections, right? Few issues. These guys 2 times actually come up with this same idea, right? So they said that actually sometimes, so every country is having their own way of creating documents, right? Medical documents, for example, prescription, what kind of personal information it must contain. There should be something, maybe a unique ID or something else, right? Sometimes age information will be there, right? Age is important, gender is important. Sometimes they will put zip codes, right? Sometimes they will put some unique identification number. So a lot of such issues are there. It changes actually with different countries, right? Their situations are different. Their way of creating those documents are different. So still it is not straightforward. For example, so here is the case. So this William Weld, right? This was the governor of Massachusetts, right? His information actually is leaked, although data was actually stored in de-identified manner, right? So their personal information is differently stored. But he was actually purchasing a voter registration card, right? So while getting it, somehow actually his personal insurance data was leaked, right? So while the creation of this voter registration, they have actually, some guy has actually get some information out of it, and somehow actually they will get this information, they have linked it, and from this insurance database they have actually get all the historical information, what he has faced in their history, right? All their diseases comes out, what medication he is using, right? What kind of disease he has in past. Everything is actually easily how it is linked. So basically this voter registration database is different, right? And this healthcare insurance database is big, but they are sharing some information. There is some common information which is in both of the databases, zip, date of birth, and gender information. Using this, actually they have related this thing, and they come to know actually what is the address and name of this guy and what is the history, right? Medical history of that guy. So they also knows that actually this is that particular guy, right? So in this way, you can actually find out information related to some more secured people in your area, right? So some such incidences happen. So de-identification doesn't mean actually everything is protected. For example, this genomic data, right, can also support re-identification. Even though if your data is de-identified, sometimes actually this genomic data, so many papers actually come up with the idea, right? They have given the ways how actually this can be de-identified. Even social security numbers can also be leaked, right? That is also a way through which you can easily, if you are using everywhere using same number, for example, Aadhaar card number, right? We are using, right? If we are storing this Aadhaar card number everywhere, at some point or you can actually, it will leak your personal identity. It just need to be actually leaked from only one place, then it is leaked everywhere. So this is also not secure, right? Same number you cannot use everywhere in general, right? So what are the concerns about security in healthcare system? So first point is, there are many points of leakage in your overall healthcare system. There are many points from where actually the security leakages can be done, right? Now, it is also consequence of the poor security used, right? Sometimes medical theft, even those are also a worry, right? So many things are there. So these are the leakages, right, from where actually this information can be leaked. It may be leaked from the patient, directly from the people who are involved in patient care, service provider, clinician, right, hospitals, right, or maybe some support activities like, let us say, while quality review, you are passing this information to the administration for different reasons, right? And so your identity will be leaked from there, and they can relate it to the healthcare data, right? Sometimes during marketing, right, drug usage, right, here also actually it can be leaked for commercial uses, right? And sometimes actually some social uses are also there. For example, insurance data and healthcare data must be linked, right? You cannot put it aside, both are linked. So insurance company will always take care of your history, right? Then only it will be in confidence and give insurance, right? So if you're creating such system, it must be linked. Although in India, sometimes actually things are not linked. But look at the future, right? You cannot actually put it aside. This is tightly coupled with the history of a patient, right? Then public health, surveyors in medical research, right? Here also actually sometimes you need to give these patients information, right? Collective patient information for a city users maybe, or maybe country level users. It should be given for research to the team of people. So it may be easily leaked from there also. I don't know then how it will be given to those users. How securely? So it should be securely given to. I don't know how this securely means here. We will discuss about it later on. So it doesn't mean paper records, if you use in healthcare, that will solve the problem. It doesn't mean that. There will be difficulty, right? There will be issues with the paper systems also, right? It doesn't mean that you will be safe you use paper records, right? So you should use digitized form of your patient data. There is no alternative, but you should be very careful while designing the system, right? This is the thing. So now this is another way, right? Potential consequences of poor security. If security is poor, then how actually it will affect, right? Sometimes patient will avoid actually going to healthcare organizations. Why? Because they are afraid of means unnecessary, this disease will be unnecessarily leaked out, right? Maybe people will know that I am facing this kind of difficulty, this kind of issues, right? Patient will sometimes hide the information or lies in front of medical practitioners, right? Patients sometimes avoid entering sensitive data while giving their historical information to the caregivers. So this is there, right? We all do actually this kind of this. Sometimes we are actually trying to hide our history, what I have did actually, right? To my maybe routine doctor, right? I don't want to say everything to a doctor, although it is mandatory, right? You should come up openly, right, in front of a doctor. But yes, we are hiding actually this information. It is obvious, right? Everybody is involved in this practice. So their research, right? So according to this survey, right, 30% of guys are actually involved in such practices. They will lie about their medical history in front of a doctor. They paying for a test, right? Although they know, they don't want to actually tell to your doctor that I am having actually this kind of disease. Sometimes some diseases are so severe, right? So private that you don't want to tell anybody. So you will go for a test. So you will pay for it. additionally, right? But still you don't want to say in front that yes, I am having this issue. This is obvious, right? We are also doing sometimes this kind of things, right? So sometimes you will avoid your regular doctor because you know that if I go to the regular doctor, he must ask this question that why you haven't said it before, right? Or maybe he knows everything. He knows my friend circles, right? Everybody, my family. I don't want to actually come to that doctor. I will change the doctor for this particular issue, for example, medical issue. It happens, right? It happens, right? So sometimes you will avoid your regular doctor even. Although you know that regular doctor can actually take care much efficiently because he knows the history, but you will avoid sometime, right? So these are the issues. So if security is poor, right? If security is poor, you will not actually give your data, your personal information to the healthcare system, right? Everything is part of the system, right? So you will try to avoid it. Now, from where actually you will feel there are threats, security threats in the healthcare system? There are insiders, right? Insiders which may accidentally disclose the information. Maybe due to curiosity, they want to know about your medical history, right? Or maybe they induce security to do some unlawful things, right? This is also, if you want to hide something, right, it is highly private thing, right? Somebody can make use it for doing some unlawful thing, right? So you sometimes insider can do it because insider knows more information about your health data, right? Secondary use settings, where secondary users, researchers, surveyors, right? So where this data is mandatorily given, actually sometimes it is necessary for global health, right? So you want to give this, pass this information to the secondary people who is involved in this survey and the research kind of thing. So from there also actually there are threats. Outsiders are also actually sometimes may misuse this information in different ways. They want to get this information from you because they know that this guy is going to this hospital, this organization, right? I want to take revenge from this guy. I will go and get some information, private information, and leak it in the public platform, right? So these are also there. So threats are from everywhere. So confidentiality, security, right? Integrity, all these are things. So security and privacy, both are the threats. Security, we can actually handle. Confidentiality, especially, we can handle it using encryption. Fine. Integrity also, we can handle it using MAG, signatures, fine. Then what about privacy? Thing is this. So de-identification will also not work in that way, right? Now, in general, if you are working with a healthcare system, right, in many countries it's still, so healthcare system is going on well, right? In India, we are somewhere behind, but yes, so Indian still we are actually depending on the hospitals, right? We are giving our data to individual hospitals. So there is no common platform. So I will discuss about it later on, right? So this customer reaction when healthcare data breaches in any healthcare management system. So you can see here these numbers are not actually equivalent to 100, right? If you add them, means there are some intersections, right? So how customer will react when some such breach is there in their system, means their data is leaked. So if you follow this study, right, source is given below, measured with the slides. So here they will change the healthcare providers. Which is not good, right? But they do it. If let us some data is leaked from some hospital, right, you will never go to that hospital if it's private. Obviously, it is private, right? So another thing, what you can do, you will first change the passwords and other credentials, those you want to hide, right? Immediately, right? Then you can sometimes actually go for some additional security, right? Maybe sometimes you will go to get some legal help, right? How to punish the people who are involved, right? Maybe sometimes you will actually use some more high-end services to secure your identity in the data store, right? Sometimes you will involve the police even, right? So sometimes you will report to the organization, right, that kindly take care of this data, right? This breach has done, so do something, right? Or maybe there are other possibilities, right? So if such system is there, this is the obvious reaction, right? Come up with you guys. So security is important in some sense. I am just trying to defend that statement, right? Now, let me come up with the healthcare, right? So now when we say healthcare 5.0, it means what we are talking about. IoT devices will be used to read your data and send the data online, right? We are talking about cloud based healthcare systems, right? So in this current situation, right, when you are totally dependent over technologies, right, and you want personalized data, right, personal data. So there are two kind of systems are there actually. I will discuss. Something is, for example, in India, what we have in India is that there are hospitals, and every individual hospital is managing your data. If you are going to Fortis Hospital, for example, they will take your data, and prescriptions are also online, right? In many of the organizations like Fortis and all, right? What they will do is they will take your history, everything, your personal information, right? And then store it, and whenever it goes to a doctor, when you reach to a doctor's cabin, this information is readily available to the doctor, and doctor will write your prescription and your symptoms there itself in online way, right? And it will be circulated among the other guys, for example, to the nurses, to the operation theater room, right? To other guys, right? Who are involved in other related operations. So this is the thing. So now let me come up with some idea about blockchain. How actually this blockchain is linked with this healthcare. How and where we can use it, right? I hope everybody now agree after these 11 sessions, right? So you know a lot of applications, lot of usages of this blockchain. So blockchain is one of the greatest inventions, right, of the decade. I hope you agree, right? At this point, especially since you are following, you have come up with a lot of such introduction, right? So nowadays it is actually overtaking all sectors, nearly all sectors, especially in banking, in industry, obviously in healthcare, and many others, right? It is there in every system nowadays. I hope you know the ICICI Bank, right? In India, is started with something, right? We'll discuss it, I hopefully, right? So everybody is trying to use actually this blockchain technology, right? It is also there in healthcare. It is in all the sectors nearly nowadays, right? In manufacturing to deliverables, right? Everywhere. So this technology can be actually used to solve healthcare solutions. There are a lot of issues in healthcare, right? Security related issues, privacy related issues. You can use actually blockchain there. So we will discuss what are the different scenarios where you can use it. So basically it provides security. Why we want to use it? Blockchain, it is a chain of blocks. This chain is such that you cannot insert or delete anything, right? So chain is there. So secure, it is by nature, it's providing security, right? For privacy, we will use in slightly different way, right? So it will basically use to provide secure to the healthcare data, and which is the very, very, very important requirement for any healthcare management system. That is what actually till now we have discussed, right? So it is not easy to handle actually security or address this kind of issues, security issues in the healthcare system. Looking at how many users are there involved in healthcare system, it is not only about medical practitioners. It is not about the patient. Their clinical staff, right? Their insurance agencies, right? Their account department, right? Their many surveyors, researchers, right? Secondary users, right? And also medical stores, right? You send this information to the medical medical store, right, to get the medications, right? So lot of people are actually involved, right? And it is also actually used for marketing. So this kind of usage is also there. So if you store it somewhere, actually everybody is trying to get this information in for their own uh, advantage and use it, right? If it is not well secured, right? Maybe sometimes they will not take consent, right? Since it is publicly available over cloud, they may try to breach this information because it is very, 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 very costly. They can sell it even. People will buy this information for their personal use, where people are moving, right? So every hospital is also having competition, right, among themselves, right? So this is industry, right? And very mature industry, right? So everybody wants to hide. This is the reason why actually in India, every hospital don't actually want a common platform. They don't want to give actually this information outside. Even patient cannot sometimes actually access their information. Can you access your information in any hospital, from any hospital? You need to go there. You cannot access it online. Even though if it is online, they will not give permission. Although they cannot hide it, but you are also not keen, right? So you are also not going actually to tell them that this is privacy, right? So I have a concern. How you are using, you should tell me how you are using that information, right? So, but you are just trusting. There is no alternative, right? So they are not providing you a separate window, right, through which you can access and know this low level information about the hospital. They don't want to provide this information to you guys, right? But they should if you go legally. They cannot hide it, right? Because your privacy, and privacy is the fundamental right, right? You can get actually this information, right? So blockchain, since security and privacy is the most important requirement of any healthcare industry, then blockchain can be used because by nature this blockchain provides security, right? This is the important feature of this technology, right? Then it is not like we are the first one, right? We are not talking on sky. People has actually started accepting this blockchain in their fields, right? There are few examples here. You see, Russia government actually testing this blockchain for document storage. In India also, actually, we are talking, right? But we are not starting it. We are not start using it. So for normal document, right? Government document storage, for example, property documents, right? In UK, for example, you can, if you are purchasing some house, right? If you want to purchase some house, you can actually get information, historic information till the start of when it was first time actually built up. You can get every information. This is the reason why actually without involving advocates, right, you cannot actually purchase land, because advocates can only actually do all these legal things in UK, right? So you need actually this document should be stored in such a way that you can access any historic information from that storage, right? So people are actually looking at seriously. In India also people looking, but I don't know, it is not actually implemented, I think, anywhere. Similarly, this Microsoft guy, right? These partners actually with Bank of America. So in America, this guy started actually using it, right? They are using this blockchain to transform trade finance. ICICI Bank is also actually doing the same thing, kind of, but not in, but with some different guy, right? This ANZ and US Bank Wells Fargo, right? This bank, this both, this is very well-known bank, right, in US. So they are actually building a distributed ledger, which is what actually you have heard of many times in your initial lectures. Distributed ledger, right? So they are actually trying to build a distributed ledger platform for correspondent banking using blockchain. So they are trying, actually, it isn't there. Many people are actually using this to trying to develop this distributed ledgers, right? So that they can make use of those blockchain into their system. Since it is secure, obviously, right? Now, Abu Dhabi Security Exchange announces blockchain for e-voting services. So it is normal practices, right? In exchanges, this e-voting mechanism is very normal. I don't know how many of you are involved in India also, right? In BSc, NSC, they have that mechanism of e-voting, but it is manual, right? So this is actually, guys are seriously, Abu Dhabi actually here, government is seriously taking this blockchain. So this is another reason, right? So here also ICICI Bank actually execute India's first banking transaction on blockchain in partnership with whom? Emirates, right? So, and they're actually also, this is the first initiative taken by any bank in India. ICICI is the first guy. So people are accepting it, right? People trust this technology. It is not like we are just talking in space, right? It is not true, right? So we are talking, but we don't have trust actually in India. So we are trying to develop the trust even, right? We are looking at other countries, how they are come up with this technology, right? How they are using their technology in different domains. Then finally they will accept it. This is about the history, our history, right? So, but things are started, right? Now, if you look at the government rules, right? So HIPAA is not the only one, right? This is not the only act which is in US. There are many other such acts available. So it doesn't mean actually we don't have standards for health, privacy in healthcare. There are a lot of such acts are there. HIPAA is not the only one, right? For example, NIST, right? Everybody knows NIST, right? They have cybersecurity framework. They are also having risk management framework. Ultimately, goal is to protect healthcare data. For example, IOMT, I don't know whether you heard of this term or not, Internet of Medical Things. So you're using handheld devices, right? For example, you are using your watch that will have sensor, right? That will take your readings continuously and that will be aggregated somewhere and it will give you, you will get some fine information out of it later on, right? So this kind of medical equipments are there nowadays. IoT based medical equipments are there that will continuously take care of your body parameters, right? For temperature and other things, right? So there are many such other acts are available. So it is not like US is the only one, right? There are many such. For example, India, this Disha, I don't know whether you heard of this or not. This will be basically to take care of the privacy, right? Disha. This is Indian, right? So it is basically give a provision to regulate the generation, collection, access of your medical data, right? All operations, whatever operation you can think of. So how actually it will be done practically. So all definitions are available in Disha, right? So this is a kind of, so Indian government has come up with this Disha, right? So thing is, you are not, so a lot of things are there. Governments are actually taking care of these measures, right? They come up with different privacy regulations, right? So that it can be securely built, right? People can trust the system because some frameworks are there, some such laws are there, right? So they must use actually, so depending on these actually laws are there, right? So you can trust the system. Actually, people are not trusting. This is the issue. And few such incident happens actually in the history. Initially, for example, Google Health, I don't know whether you know it or not, or Microsoft Health Vault. These kind of applications are globally rejected initially, right? Because there are major breakdown in the security, right, on the systems. Initially, when they started this application, people have given their data, but later on they found that it is breached. So people don't have trust actually for the system. But nowadays, now governments have taken the initiative. They come up with the regulations. So you should follow the regulations. So ultimately, we should go to the cloud-based healthcare system at some point of time. We don't have alternative, right? Thing is, we are not very happy with the hospital related healthcare data system, right? Where hospitals are managing my data. Why hospitals are managing my data? Why not I personally manage my data? Because it is private. I don't want to give this information to, or maybe why actually I am bound to go to single hospital then. If this is the case, if that hospital is carrying all my reports, right? How I will take those reports and go to another hospital until unless it is shared with them. Assuming we are using the online system, right? So it should be shared. It should be openly available somewhere where hospital can access. If I give my consent, without my consent, it should not be happen, right? So I will give the consent as a user, then only hospital can access it. Why should hospital having control? So I should have control over my data. This is what the current research is moving. We are going in that direction, right? So currently we are talking about patient healthcare system, right? Patient-oriented healthcare system, PHR, right? Personal health records, right? So that is basically about personal data. So where a user can manage its data. Why should hospital will manage? It's not a good idea, right? So people will actually think of the direction. They will started thinking the direction 15 years back, and finally there are few countries which actually uses this, right? For example, in Singapore, they have card-based system, right? So I will carry my card, which is having some partial information and some online data is available there. I cannot put everything in my card. So this card will help to just link my information, my online information, online data with that system. So I need to give my card, so they will punch it in their machine and they will get my data, my history, right? But I am giving that consent. It means I am giving that card. So until unless anybody is having that card, they cannot actually link my data to me, right? So that linking information is present in that card, but ultimately issues are still there because somebody is actually punching it. So who is punching, they may know actually this linkages, right? So issues are there with every system. Issues are there. So I hope at any point of time we should actually go to this online healthcare management system, cloud-based management system, where user can manage their data, right? And securely. For security reasons, you need to depend over the upcoming technologies like blockchain, right? So now these are things. What are the challenges in healthcare and how this blockchain can give a solution to those challenges, right? So one very, very important challenge is time to access that patient data. Right? So it should be efficient. Otherwise, there is no meaning, right? Everything is in hurry, right? Always will be an emergency whenever there is a medical issue, right? So data access time should be fast. So if it is distributed, right? If you distribute ledger as in blockchain, right? Data is close to us. So data will be fast, right? So blockchain can help, right? So globally it will be, so assuming the system is well furnished, right? It is there everywhere. Globally accessibility is provided, right? So you can access from your closest server. Interoperability. So you cannot say that your data will be only in one side, right? It is actually going in multiple users. And for example, doctor, nurses, everybody's reading your data, needs your data. So data must be decentralized, right? Across geographies. So it should not be like, so exchanges should be allowed, right? Make use of these each other among nodes, such as different guys who are the core users of your data. Although definitely you need some authentication mechanism. So that system is there. That is the necessity in that case, right? So that is there. So such system will enable this authenticity. So one, if first that guy should first authenticate it himself, right? Then only it can access data. So security will be there. That is not an you cannot avoid it. So in general for data security, so again, by nature actually it is secure, right? Only thing is confidentiality you need to take care, privacy you need to take care, right? That we can do, right? It is a top up kind of thing over blockchain, but basically by nature it provides security. You cannot delete the data, you cannot, so things will be hidden in when we use encryptions, right? And linkages is not very easy. If you want to, since you are using identities, right? So you can hide your data. So data should be patient generated. So now patient can do it. User will itself actually do whatever it wants to do with the data. So data collection from the wearable IoT devices, for example, right? Aggregate and provide to the patient care. So it will be directly given to the outsourced storage. So who will access it? Patient will actually do it by yourself. Data is belongs to user, and the device, IoT device, must be close to the patient. So since it is close, so the patient itself actually collecting the data and sending, right? So now access mechanism, this is very, very important, right? Access mechanisms. So you need to give access to many different kind of users, So how you can handle it in blockchain? We have something called smart contracts. I hope you have come up with this term, smart contract. So they will actually help this system that gives a authentication mechanism, right? And a predefined mechanism through which one can access, what one can access, right? How much it can access, right? What subset of data it can access. So it will provide a rule-based method to access the data, right? So smart contract will help in for authentication and to get the accessibility, right? So one should not be allowed to access everything. If it is entering into the system, it should not be allowed to get everything. So smart contract will help in that case. Cost effective, obviously, because you are not dependent over any third party now. It is a distributed ledger, right? You're using decentralized application. Distributed ledger is there, and it is not required any third party to manage. This is the big, it makes a big difference. So again, it is a cost effect in that case, right? Scalability must be there. So it is a blockchain. You can keep on updating the chain, right? You know, the data, there is no, so you can break the chain from anywhere, right? You can partially store data, right? That is okay, but you can just create a, it is kind of chain of records, right? So there is no limit. So it scales the things well, right? So blockchain answers the common healthcare industry challenges. I hope you will agree. So because of their basic nature, it will basically provide security, right? And then since it is working in decentralized fashion, right? It is a distributed ledger basically. Because of it, it is close to you guys. Accessibility is fast, right? Blockchain is not restricted to how many records you can put. Smart contracts are there. So you can provide partial access, partial data access, right? Along with the authentication, right? So a lot of things are there. So finally, I hope you agree that blockchain actually you can use with the healthcare management system, right? Now, we will, I want to discuss some historical things that uses the concept of EHR. EHR is not new. Initially, EHR comes as a hospital management system. So hospital based model, right? Hospital centric model, you can say. So initially, this was the hospital centric model, which is there actually in India, right? In India, basically every hospital is managing your data separately. They are not actually linked with any other organization. They are not sharing their information with any other hospital, which is an important requirement, right? You want actually it should be shared. Why it is separate. Why should I give actually this same information to all the hospitals separately, right? There should be consistency, right? It is good if it is shared among all the hospital caregivers, right? So EHR basically contains everything, whatever you think of about your health, medical prescription, progress notes, lab reports, whatever you think of, everything is there, right? But initially people think of hospital-centric model. I am not saying this is what a EHR means. Nowadays, this definition changes. I will come to it, right? So EHR, I hope you will agree that there are issues, right? If things are with the hospital itself, then there are issues. It must not be hospital centric, right? Then this term comes, which is personal health record, where data is user centric, right? So health information about a user compiled and maintained by the user itself. This was the idea behind it, right? So if you say management system, PHR management system, it means storing and managing and share this PHR information, right, among the practitioners, right, caregivers, but by yourself, by the user itself, right? So there are few cloud-based examples are there that you can refer to. For example, Microsoft Health Vault, Google Health, these are some cloud-based applications are there, which has implemented this PHR management system, user-centric management system. So these examples are there, right? So many times actually nowadays this EHR is used instead of PHR, right? So people are nowadays think of this EHR, taken this EHR as PHR, right? So don't confuse. Many times we will read that EHR is because nobody actually nowadays talk about hospital-centric applications, right? We are more talking about when we talk about a healthcare management system. Basically, we are talking about user-centric healthcare system. So sometimes still people are using a EHR in that case or PHR, right? So don't confuse. So whenever we say common such application, that must be user-centric. Either somebody's write it EHR or PHR, whatever. PHR, anyhow, it is very clear. Personal health record, so it is user-centric by nature. But sometimes some people are also using actually EHR instead of PHR, right? So ultimately, what we want now, we want to develop a EHR or PHR management system that enables the user. It should be user-centric. So user to give healthcare professionals access to their personal health data. So user want to handle their data by their own ways, right? So it must be in auditable way, transparent and secure way, right? So, and this must use a distributed layer. We don't want actually a third party where I can store this. I don't want to actually use it. Why should I unnecessarily pay for this? Right? So this is the need separately, right, for third party storage, so you can use it. So it should be a generic application. We are thinking of an application which is very mature, very it's large scale. You can use it anywhere, anytime. So it must be cloud-based kind of thing, right? Use a distributed ledger, right? Because you need accessibility, right? And securely. So secure in that sense. So this is what our objective is, right? So if you go in the direction, you can, there is one architecture which was published recently, right? This is what you can think of. This is how actually you can think of about a healthcare system. So in this architecture, you are here. What you can do, it is an online application, right? So there is a client application which is in center. What this client application do? So everything should go actually through client. Only in exceptions, right? maybe this client application is not. Otherwise, client application will be there in the core of that system. So this patient grants or provide access to their data, right? To these guys, to the providers, right? So who will access what? So that is patient's responsibility. Maybe this patient want to add some personal health record, right? So it can do it using the client application. So this central client application is there, where every user must be actually certified through some trusted guy. Every user who is there will trust this clinician or this providers, right? Any provider. It will trust only if it is certified by some guy. So some trusted certification must be there. That will give a certificate, and these certificates will be associated with different providers. So now they can search for any practitioner, any doctor online from their application, and they can take their caregiver, right? They can actually use their services, right? So what about laboratory, right? So it will, the provider, this laboratory as a provider queries the patient data and updates the notes, right? This either this doctor or this laboratory. So doctor will provide these notes, laboratory will give the lab reports. So they will, in consultation with the patient, they will come up with the reports and finally give it to the client application. This client application finally store it in the EHR ledger. So this is distributed ledger where you finally store your data as a block, right? These healthcare providers, right, especially the doctor, right, they may actually sometimes get the data directly from the ledger. Why unnecessary you want? Because in emergency cases, how this patient will give their information to the doctor? Maybe he's not in the position, right? So this accessibility should be direct. But how? It must know something about the user. Those are the research issues, right? But normally it will be uploaded through client. So if doctor is giving some prescription or something, it should go through the client application. But there will be way through which in emergency cases, these doctors can access this data directly about a patient. There are many ways actually to do this using some third party, right? Some secure, trusted third party. For example, some government bank, for example, blood bank, right? So same as there is a common bank from that kept actually the security password, security related things, right? Passwords and their identification numbers and all here. So they can, in emergency cases, they can go to that bank and this bank will give the access credentials through which this doctor can access the data. So there are multiple different ways are there, right? So this is overall what actually we want, right? Everybody should be trusted. So for trust, you need certification, and there should be some online application through which you will access or you will connect to other people, right? Whenever you open your machine, it should come up with a client application through which you can go to various parties, various providers and various things. Everything should be there. If you want to get a certificate, that is also you can do. So you become a member of the system. Then you can store your data, the ledger, right? Okay. So now for access control, there should be admin, right? Admin is the user itself, right? It must have a full access to their resources. Then there must be patients. Patients write actually this EHR. So it is about whole system, right? How this access control will work. So there should be an administrator. An administrator can be the user itself, or it can give actually to somebody. It depends, right? So in general, that admin must have a full access, right? It can manipulate things, right? Then patients write these EHRs. They can write their EHR and they can actually give it to their data to clinician or lab providers. What this doctors and labs can do? They can actually read and write, right? But on permissioned HR, this is where actually this smart contract will come. It must be permission, right? Without permission, without consent, they cannot do anything, right? So, okay. So here, a few examples where these smart contracts will work. For example, if you want to create a medical record, right? So how you can create a medical record on behalf of somebody without a consent? Here comes the smart contract, right? It will give you the interface through which you can actually create it. If you want to grant access, any type of grant access in general, anybody, they will come with their credentials and they need to, so some function will work here in between, right? So some smart contract will be there through which actually they can get this access. Now grant access to labs, then revoke access to labs, right? So at every point, so whenever you want to interact with the system, right, for anybody's data, right, you need access, right? So labs will take this access in different way as compared to a doctor, right? So everybody has different ways, right? Different ways to authenticate themselves, and the accessibility will also be different, right? For labs, for example, you don't need to give accessibility to your records. Maybe you just want to give accessibility to your readings, right? So that will be stored separately. So but doctor wants to know your history. History means what? They want to access your data as well as lab reports, historic lab reports, right? So this is the thing. Okay, so this is an example PHRMS system, cloud-based PHRMS system, where you can think of users and there is a service provider who will store this data, right? This is another kind of application. You can think of, there are many different ways actually you can think of this application, right? It is purely cloud-based kind of application. So some assumptions are there about the service provider. It is not fully trusted. So some sort of trust is there because service provider is also in the business, right? It is giving if you are using it. So this is a different application, right? So one application where you can use decentralized application, right? Distributed ledgers to store the data. In another application here, it is pure cloud-based where some service provider is there, but you can use blockchain to store the data because there are few other researches going on in parallel, which says actually you can divide the data into bundles, into categories, classes, right? So Mingley is the researchers who has come up with this idea in 2010. They said that why don't you divide your data into classes? Because every doctor, every practitioner needs to access a specific kind of data, not everything, right? So everybody needs a class of data, accessibility to a class of data. This is the thing. So if this is the case, then you can store actually these things into linear chains instead of distributed ledgers. That is also a way where in such applications also you can actually use blockchain, but slightly restricted because here you are using third party. So data will be stored, or class data will be stored in linear blockchain fashion, right? So this is what the thing is. So there are few assumptions. So I will discuss actually few privacy issues here. So assumption is large number of patients are actually associated with the doctor or lab, which is I think in general obvious, right? Lab reports are required to be read by doctors only. Labs will not read old lab reports, right? So this is required by doctors only. Maybe sometimes patient is not interested even knowing them, right? So, but because it is highly technical in that sense, right? So doctors and labs are not intentionally leak any of the patient personal from other, because doctor can leak the information anytime, isn't it? Labs knows everything, right? They have taken your readings directly, so they knows everything. So if these, so we should trust doctors. Doctors can anyhow leak your personal information. So this should be the assumption of your system, right? So the PHR owner means the user, patient, right? In general, it is user, right? Or you can say PHR owner may use lightweight devices. So if this is the which is obviously true, right? You are working with mobiles, machines, so you cannot do all kind of processings. So you need actually storage. You need to give this storage to third party. Some processing should also be at the cloud, right? So you don't need everything here. Lab reports and medical prescription does not actually contain any identity information. This is what actually this system is. In this particular system, actually it is there. So we should hide the identity. We need privacy actually in the system. We will discuss about it. So other requirements may be there, which are, I think, important. For example, confidentiality is everybody knows, right? New requirement here is this forward security. What is this forward security is? Basically, to whomsoever actually you are consulting, the consulted doctor is restricted to access only future information. A doctor needs your history, access to your history data, right? Historical data. But when this association is done, right, you are fit when you come next time, should not actually able to access any futuristic data. But previously he was having some credentials using which actually he or she has access to the patient history, historical data, right? So how to restrict actually using the same credentials, doctor may actually access futuristic data of your records, of your health record, right? So how to restrict it? This is called forward secrecy. So this is one. Another is unlinkability. This privacy requirement, I will discuss you later on. What is unlinkability? Basically, you want to delink your personal information with actual data, prescriptions, lab reports, right? Then issues are also with the disclosure to secondary users, for example, researchers, surveyors, how it will be disclosed. Ultimately, you need to give it, right, for common good. You need to give this information to the surveyors, researchers. This is important, right? So this is how actually it can be done. So we have make use of this Mingley's work. He has said that every doctor doesn't need actually everything from your record. For example, dentists need information related to dentist related information only, right? So, or related lab reports. So every doctor don't need actually every information, right? So why don't you create classes of these documents? This is the idea. So you can create classes, right? So ENT class, dentist class. So means it is your PHR, right? So PHR may contain class related information. This is one class. So this is how actually documents are added into that chain. Here you will use that blockchain to create this single chain, right? So here one chain is here, one chain is here, one chain, and those are also linked somehow. You may use some other chain for it, right? So because everything comes actually in sequence, right? Normally your prescription, everything comes in sequence, not in parallel, correct? So every group, so you can first of all divide these groups, and these groups can be implemented using blockchains, correct? So this is the idea. And another important thing here is because of you need privacy, right? So because of privacy reasons, and you want to give access to lab reports, especially to the third parties, to the researcher surveyors, right? Secondary users. So some things may be stored unencrypted. So lab reports may be stored encrypted, and these prescriptions or progress notes can be stored in encrypted way, right? They may be very actually having more serious concerns, the things that will be written here, right? But lab reports normally used actually for normal, for example, you want to identify the malaria cases in last month in your city. So ultimately these lab reports will help, right? So lab reports are more important actually during research, right? So in data store, these prescriptions are stored in encrypted form, and lab reports are stored in unencrypted. This is what the idea is. Now, first goal is forward secrecy. How it will manage? It will manage actually using chain hash. You can use basically blockchain, right? It can be converted into blockchain. So you can use blockchain. So thing is you are doing hash over hashes. Take a key, hash it, then second time hash it, third time hash it, and so on. So if you do in that case, you can actually store your documents using linear chain keys, right? So initial document may be encrypted with the second one, for example, or you can say the last one. Then next document will be encrypted with this, third will be encrypted with this, and so on. So how it will help? It will help since doctor is, let us say, taken this key. So it can only access records which are encrypted with previous keys. It cannot actually find out next key in the chain. So it is one dimension, right? Using H2, you can compute H3, H4, H5, but you cannot compute H1. This is the thing in this way, right? So this is how actually you can make use of hash chain, right? And store your data in single linear blockchain. So it will give you forward secrecy. So this feature you can easily take care of. While creating the chains, you can use linear blockchain, right? So I'm just giving an idea, right? Now, regarding unlinkability, what is unlinkability? First of all, this is not very new concept, right? Significant updations or research has been done actually related to this unlinkability thing, which is a privacy requirement basically, right? So thing is, the idea is this. What we want is the attacker cannot actually sufficiently distinguish whether this data of interest, whatever we are talking about, it is a PCHAR document, for example, is related to a owner, user, or a patient, right? So this is well studied definition. It is there, it is well known, everybody is using. So unlinkability, this is well matured definition, right? So you can use it. Pseudonymization is basically can be used for de-identification purpose, right? De-identification means your personal information somewhere else, your data is somewhere else. So that personal information, right, can be secured, right? It can be separated out from the actual documents, right? So this is the term that people are actually using to do this de-identification. I hope you have heard of this term pseudonyms, right? So they are using pseudonyms instead of actual names. With every document, they will use pseudonyms, any other name, right? But that can be mapped, right? So your personal information is differently stored, and your actual documents, lab documents or prescriptions, there you will use some dummy names. So this is the way how actually, and this association will be stored somewhere at some secret place. Only doctors, it is up to you to whom you want to disclose this information, right? So pseudonym is the one, but so this is how actually pseudonym will work. So pseudonym basically separated out this personal identifiable information from the, but we know that this is not secure. Why this is not secure? Actually, the adversaries who can sit in between the service provider and the owner, means a user, right? So they can sit in between and find out the access patterns, the traffic. So traffic analysis can be done. And using this traffic analysis, if let us say you are always going to access this particular file, so it means this file must be your file, right? So you can actually find the access patterns and you can link the two things, right? This is done. So this is the major drawback, right? Then what we can do? So what you can do is you can actually come up with some new thing which is called unobservability. Again, this is having very mature definition, right? So it actually defines unlinkability. Ultimately, you need unlinkability. You want to unlink the actual document with the user, right? So instead of this unlinkability, you will provide unobservability. So one cannot able to observe that this document is linked with this user. So there is a tool that you can use for providing this unobservability, right? So what is the time? Okay, so I'm closing. So tool is mixed network. I don't know whether you heard of this term mixed network or not. I'm not saying this is the perfect solution, right? So, but it will give you some sort of guarantee, right? So it will, if somehow actually you can able to provide this unobservability over internet, it will automatically give you unlinkability. So privacy will be preserved. This is the idea. How it will be done? This is how actually it will be done. So you need actually intermediate in this case. So some government agencies, government labs can work as an intermediate. So how it will help? So whatever documents you are sending to somebody, this sequence will be here shuffled, and you will send a shuffled data out of here. So the adversary who is sitting here cannot actually link this document is sent where, right? This can be done because you are using encryptions. So it is differently encrypted. So here encryption is different, here encryption different. So you cannot actually judge where is this document, right? So this is the idea. So mixed node idea can work here, because normally documents will not actually carry your identifiable information. If this is true, then this document, so sequence of documents normally, right? Whatever comes. So you know that this is sent by this particular guy A. This is sent by guy B. This is sent by guy C. So now after coming out of it, right, these are shuffled. So you don't know actually this is sent by whom. So this is the idea. Can you do this? Actually, there is a mechanism, right? Using mixed node, you can implement this. So single node is sufficient. In mixed network, you may have more nodes. So here, single node is sufficient. That will be your any government lab, right? So this is the idea. Actually, you can use some such guy in between, which can work as a mixed node and provide unobservability, which eventually provide the privacy. So this is what the idea is, right? So basic issues with this medical privacy is who owns the data. This is very, very important. I am not saying, so there is one paper actually, these two guys have come up with something that is very crucial here. We are thinking that privacy or medical privacy, so if somebody owns its medical record, right, everything is good. That is what actually we want. Is this okay? Is this perfectly fine? No, there are a few questions, right? Still, this is not maybe a perfect model. Maybe you need to think of the economics implication also, right? There are economic implications because you are having everything, right? You are not disclosing, sometimes you are not giving this information. So sometimes actually the information, the inference is not actually, you cannot get the common inferences that will be used for common good, right? So it will affect the business of many guys. So from hospital point of view, this is not correct. They don't want actually, from insurance NC point of view, they may not actually like this because they have association with the hospitals, right? So there are some implications internally in this field also, right? So this is not like this is perfect. So there are questions, right? So because you are actually give a big impact actually the economics, right? Economy of the general country economy, right? You affect the system. Everything is free if you are using lasers, for example. So you are affecting the somebody who is working actually in that area. You are hiding some information. You are, so that is also important, but this is also important. So that you need to come up with some equilibrium between the two. So overall, so I am just concluding the thing. After lunch, is it difficult actually to take it talk? So I hope you are not sleeping. So just concluding my talk. So EHR, PHR, whatever it is, the need of the day, you should actually want some common cloud-based platform where anybody can put their data and it will be accessible to any party, healthcare party who is involved in, so medical practitioners, or you can say insurance agencies, or maybe surveyors, researchers, everybody. It should be open to, somehow it should be accessible by all the parties involved in normal healthcare system, right? So hospital-centric management system have issues, right? So we should actually try to sometimes avoid this kind of thing. Patient-centric model will be better somehow as compared to hospital-centric, but they have actually economic and public disclosure issues. How to give access to somebody. Sometimes it is not easy. I hope you can now, you have now the blockchain as a tool, right? You can use something from the blockchain side through which actually you can, you have a smart contract, right? You can put it in as an interface in between through which you can give restricted access to the users. So blockchain technology plays a caretaker role here, right? So securely stores the data. Smart contract will give secure data access management, and finally avoid third-party involvement if you are using public layers, right? So these are the things. How and where, how you can use it, it is up to the system, right? So it is not easy sometimes how to manage actually these all things. So this problem is still open, right? It is not very easy to come up with any such common application. So people are coming. So there are many research points are available where you can research topics are there related to this healthcare integration, this kind of platform, right? How to implement all this sharing kind of thing, right? This is not sometimes very straight. Privacy issue, how to take care of these things. So still there are issues, but technologies are also there, but how to get confidence in the system. So patients or users should also actually have confidence. So there are many such issues. So I hope I have conveyed few things. I have justified the talk. I don't know. So great. So thank you very much for have patience listening to this talk. So I'm open for any questions if you have. Are you there or I am alone?
Any questions from participants? I think there are no doubts from participants side, I think, sir. Sir, you have given a very good presentation today. So you have touched upon several points like what are the importance of healthcare data security and privacy, and what is the role of government in securing those data, and what are the consequences if we don't maintain the security as well as privacy of the data. And we have given some more importance about various concepts like forward security and then unlinkability. So all those things are very useful. I hope the participants will use all of these concepts for their future work, I think. So thank you so much, sir, for your wonderful session.
So thank you very much, Kalpanaji, for this nice opportunity you have given to me. So thank you very much, all of you.
Thank you, everyone. So
May I
participants,
leave?
yes, sir. The participants, please enter your attendance and feedback. So tomorrow will be the last day, and tomorrow we have 2 more sessions. So tomorrow afternoon we will have the assessment part. Okay, so you will have the MCQs, about 25 questions, and each questions will carry around 2 marks. And the minimum eligibility is you should have 60% for getting the certificate. This is the pattern of this assessment. Second, enter the roll number, attendance and feedback in the form provided in the chat box.